Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Never thought I'd see another episode so soon, huh? Today, we brought out Tokaido, game of the classic road in Japan. The goal of the game is to have the most points at the end. You'll get points by getting cards with meals, souvenirs, hot springs, potential encounters, or exploring the panoramas of Japan of back then. At the start of the game, you'll have your choice of two random characters, various abilities. We're going to go with this character to draw two encounters and choose one when having an encounter. You will get whatever their starting money is. Starts with 9. And these little classic coins. You'll take your player color and add it to the card. I don't want to put it all the way in there and potentially mess it up though. And then once everyone's done the same, the player pawns will be mixed up and add it to the end. I'm going to put my guy such that they can go first, so I can demonstrate. All right. As for setting up the rest of everything else, the shop, hot springs, encounters, and meals decks will be shuffled. The panorama deck will not be shuffled. You want to keep things in order: the 1 cards, the 2 cards, and then the 3 cards. Then you want to set aside the achievement cards for either the end of the game or during the game. On your turn, it is always the turn of the player who is furthest behind on the road. So they will go first. And you can move to any spot down the road up to the next inn. Everyone will have to stop at the inn before anyone else can go further along. So let's go over the various spaces. Here is the shop. You will take the top 3 cards of the shop and look at them, look at your money, and see how many of them you want to buy. They come in various types, like small items, clothing, and other things that you might pick up to give to friends and family when you get back from the trip. So to buy it, you'll need to pay the cost out of your money. You can buy all of them if you can afford them and you want to do so. Money will go back to the bank. Anything that you don't buy will go to the bottom of the deck. When you buy souvenirs, you score them immediately. They form sets of unique items. The first item in a set is worth 1 point. The second item in the set is worth 3 points. The third item in the set is worth 5 points. And let's go fishing for it. There we go. The fourth item in the set is worth 7 points. You do not have to complete sets to start new ones. For example, if, let's say, we got these 3 items, we could buy all 3, and it would be the start of a new set for each one. And it'd be worth 1, 2, 3 points. But ideally, you want to try to build unique sets as much as possible for points efficiency. Onto this space is the temple. You can only stop at a temple if you have money to donate, but you can decide how much you want to. 1, 2, or 3 coins gets you 1, 2, or 3 points. At which point they will then go to the donation tracker for the end of the game bonus. Donating the most will get that player 10 points, second most 7 points, third most 4 points. If you donated but you did not donate enough, then you get 2 points. If you don't donate anything, you get 0. So it's good to be generous on that end. Here is the encounter space. We'll draw the top card of the deck, flip it over, and get what it shows at the bottom. So we get 3 coins from this person. With this character, they can pick 2. They draw 2 and pick one of them. So this character lets us get panorama cards. There are others in there as well that do various things. Um, the encounter cards you keep go in front of you as an end game objective. Here, here, and here are various panoramas. If you do not have card number 1 of that panorama, you will take card number 1 of that panorama. If you already have number 1, then you'll take number 2. If you already have number 2, you'll take number 3. Um, these only certain panoramas go up to higher numbers. This one only goes up to 3. So it's easy to finish. You'll get the points for the card that you take, as shown. Once you complete a panorama, you cannot stop on that type anymore. If you are the first person to complete a panorama of a given type, you will get the bonus card. Technically the achievement card. Sorry, terminology. It helps to stay consistent. But for this panorama, you'll get that one. It's 3 points regardless of the panorama you complete, but sometimes going for the big one early helps you lock that in a little bit better. But I like how it fulfills a complete picture. It's really nice. Here, we have the hot spring. Take the top card of the hot spring card and add it to your collection. It's worth anywhere from 2 to 3 points. Here's a 3-pointer. So yeah, in a deck of about 12 hot springs cards, about half of them are 3s and half are 2s. Yeah. It's very consistent points, but there's still enough randomness to keep it interesting. Here is the farm. When you get to a farm, you take 3 money from the bank. Money is not worth anything at the end, but if you don't have it, things get really freaking difficult. You need money for so many things. The temple donations, the souvenir shops, meals, for crying out loud. You don't want to be caught without money while you're out on a journey. Okay. Eventually, every player will end up at the inn. The first player at the inn will take a number of cards equal to the number of players plus 1. So in a 5-player game, we're taking 6 cards, and we have our choices. Some cards are going to cost more than others. So if you can afford to do so, You want to try to take the more expensive card because one of the endgame achievements hinges on it. You are not required to buy a meal, but considering every meal is 6 points, you really don't want to miss your opportunity. Um, the other rule with meals is you cannot take a meal that you already have one of in your collection. But once you've chosen and paid for it, the remaining meal cards will go next to the inn, and the next player to reach it will have their choice. Once everyone has reached the inn, we'll have the next stretch, starting with the furthest back. Some of these spots have 2 places for people. The first person to get there occupies the spot on the road. The next person occupies the spot that's a little bit further behind. The spot furthest out of the road's way will then go next out of them. Eventually, players will reach the end of the road, at which point the achievements for the end of the game will be figured out. If you ever lose track of your points during the game, you always have the cards to reference to make absolutely sure of your points values. There's also keep the coins here as well, just coin for point. That way there's no losing track during the game. But you'll have the points you've accumulated up to this point. We'll figure out the donation bonuses, and then figure out the end of the game achievements. The player that bought the biggest number of souvenirs gets a 3-point bonus. Sometimes you're stuck with a lot of souvenirs the same type. Just buying souvenirs in general can kind of alleviate it if you can buy a lot of them consistently. Having the most cards from the hot springs is worth a 3-point bonus. Having the most encounter cards is a 3-point bonus. Having the highest combined value of meal cards is a 3-point bonus. In the event of a tie, those players will each get the 3-point bonus. For the donation, each player will get the same bonus at that rank. The player with the most points after all his bonuses are figured out wins the game. If there's a tie, then whoever has the most achievement cards wins. The game offers some variations, including playing a 2-player game with a third neutral player, which is moved by the traveler in the lead. They have no effect except at temples and inns. And then there's also, for new players playing the game, the simple version is to just play without characters completely and give everybody 7 coins. Uh, there's also the return trip variation, where players start at this end. They start at Edo and make their way back to Kyoto, which makes for what I think would be a great 2-game series variation. We play the first game, track your points for that game only, and then play the second game, and then compare your points. Whichever game had your worst points is your final points, and whoever has the best final points wins the 2-game series. But that's my suggestion. Um, there's drawing one less card from the inns. making arriving at the end is that much more critical. And then there's the start of the game money modifier preparations. So the player on the road gets a 2 coin bonus. The second one gets a 1 coin bonus. The fourth and fifth players have to give up a coin because they're going to be the ones going first. Yeah, you can then mix some of these ideas together as well. Like you play with the everybody gets no characters but 7 coins, but then the coins are modified by the starting position. Alternatively, with the return trip, um, the character that you don't pick out of your two is the one that you have to use on the return trip. Just things like that, you know, are suggestions. On the back of the manual is also some words about Japan and its history, which is really nice. So I've never played this game before, but I already like it. The question is why. First off, I don't see text. I don't see a whole lot of text. I don't see a whole lot of charts. This game is fairly simple, but also reasonably strategic enough that it can be pretty interesting to figure out. It's also just it's fun, I think. The theme of going on a journey, meeting people, finding things to buy, seeing the scenery, checking out temples. It's it's a story you can kind of create for the character that you take on the journey of and kind of narrate that story in a way that I think is pretty cool. But yeah, this is definitely a game that I would love to bring on a Tuesday night at the game store and just have fun, because I kind of like the old Japan setting and uh, simple, fun things like this. I want to see. I wish I could see more of. Yeah, Tokaido is um, the copy that I found was at Barnes and Noble of all places. Uh, it wasn't. It wasn't expensive. It was actually a reasonable price, I think. So definitely check it out. Tokaido, the board game. Um, Play it, love it. Let me know what you think of it. This has been Pillar Nexus, and I will see you next time.